Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Teacup for One Roald Dahl movie marathon. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees. And I forgot to get my teacup for today because you know what? This is my 5th live stream in like 7 days. I've done so many of these, and I thank all 3 of you who are watching for coming back and supporting each and every one of them. Much appreciated. But yes, so tonight we are back talking about a new, well, I say new, it is actually new, it's the newest of the lot, talking about yet another filmic adaptation of a classic Roald Dahl children's novel. Tonight is all about the BFG, kind of like the lower tier Roald Dahl material, if we're going to call a spade, and definitely the lower tier as far as movie adaptations go. Anyway, that's just one Matt's opinion. We'll see if the panel agrees with me for today. Let's see who's joining us here in the comments. We have Eliza, my cat. Eliza, always a pleasure. Sabrina, my other cat. Hello, love you both. Yoda, Matthew, I always appreciate a good cat pun. Elided with my name. Adore that. Love that for me. Thank you, Yoda, for Mark. I've also had Catthew. I've had Meowthew. Matthew might be a first. I appreciate that. Martha, my mother. Hello. Good evening. Yoda says, send Tink the I need 6 egg shirt for winning. Make her wear a Belle quote. Belle is not your fit. Hold on. Defend.
Defend defenseless Belle. Along with Ariel, I feel like Belle is rather overdramatic about her actual situation.
What? How dare you? Belle judges you.
Like, Jasmine is way less whiny. Jasmine's not even my favorite, but she's way less whiny, and she's in a way worse situation. Like,
what? What? Hold on. Lisa has thoughts. I could tell. We're gonna forgo the intros. Lisa, unmute yourself.
She's on mute. She's like, "Oh, you don't want all this."
I am shocked. I am shocked you like Jasmine more than Ariel.
I know. Jasmine does nothing.
Ariel is a very ungrateful brat.
She also falls for a liar and a thief.
I mean,
I cannot defend Aladdin's actions. I know he's a fan favorite, but
let's look at the lineup of fictional men that I like. So there's,
I thought you were gonna list off the list. I thought we were actually gonna look at the list.
Oh, I mean, well, we could start with Kylo Ren, and then we could probably just end there too. So
okay, we're in that hallway. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's here. Look, Mary's here too. Yay!
You guys are cracking me up. I agree about Ariel, though. She is really bratty. As a little girl, I was like, her dad is so mean. And now, as a grown-up, I'm like,
he's doing pretty good. Her
dad has control issues. Triton has control issues, but also Ariel is she's a typical 16-year-old as well. So I do have to give a little bit of leeway for you're young and stupid. So there is that. But also, I think that that just goes to show what happens when, as a parent, I'm in any position to give parenting advice, but if you look at what King Triton does, it just shows what happens when you force your hand too hard and try to control the actions of your growing child. Then it pushes them to do irresponsible things, which is what I think Ariel's problem is. But also the problem with that movie is it's not so much Ariel's story, it's Triton's story. He's the one that has the biggest revelation and the biggest arc, and Ariel's just like a catalyst for that. Belle's the first Disney princess, truly, where the title princess character is the one whose story it is, but all the other princesses like Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, they're the title characters, but the movie has little to nothing to do with them. They're like the Cymbalines of the Disneyverse, title character, but it's more about the other people who their lives just kind of slowly intersect with. But anyway, we should talk about that.
Deeply offended.
I said what I said.
Good analysis.
Thank you. I've thought about this many times.
Right?
There's a whole video about it.
For me, yeah.
Yes, there is. Well, let's see. Is there? Yeah, I've done a couple Ariel videos. I've done a Belle video.
Oh.
I haven't done Jasmine because I've got nothing to say about her. She lives a privileged life in a palace with a giant cat. What does she have to complain about? Right. Anyway, oh yeah, the BFG, yay. So oh yeah, I guess introduce yourselves because we had to jump hot into this Disney debate, which honestly I think that's more interesting than what this friggin' movie had to offer me. But
I
whatever.
was gonna say maybe we just stay here.
Yeah, we can stay talking about this.
Yeah. No, but I have a lot to say about the BFG and why it's not good. But quick introductions. Jeanette, who are you?
So I am Tinker J787, but Tinker J here. Sorry. I never remember which way I'm going. I'm like, it's this way, right? Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, but you can find me here in Teacup for One Movie Club, and you can find me on We Like Theme Parks on the Disney Nerdy Network.
Love it.
Talking about hot takes on princesses.
It's a universal theme. It's a tale as old as time. Lisa,
Right.
how about you? Quick intro. Who's you? What's a
Hey
Lisa?
everyone. What's a Lisa? This Lisa is a theater producer in Toronto, Canada, and you can find my adventures and my hamsters' adventures all on Instagram at Lisa_A_Alves.
Love it. Love to see it. Love the hamsters. Mary, your turn.
Hi, I'm Mary with Jolly Holiday with Mary, and I am a dog mom and YouTuber / Instagrammer. It's basically all I do. DIYs and spray painting things and playing with my dogs, dressing up, the basics.
It's the dream. Love it. Fantastic. All right. So the B. I mean, normally I like about nostalgic. This movie came out when we were adults. Degree. Anyone seen it prior? Anyone have any childhood to this story? Like there was a cartoon that came out, 80s or 90s, the book, but anyone? No.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
literally.
might have read the book. Like in sixth grade.
Yeah, it's out there. I never read the book. Like I said last week, this should have more nostalgia for me because the first play ever was me being the BFG, was 10 or 11 at a drop. So yeah, that was my first role. I realized that I liked it, and I maybe watching this would have memories that make me this is where it all began. And no. So there we go. Let's see. Yeah, Vincent, excited to hear everyone's takes tonight. Oh, so am I. Bob, you read the book. Nice. Yeah, the book, not a part. There we go. Oh, no, I'm glitchy.
You're better now.
I'm better now?
You're good.
Oh, good. I was afraid it was me.
No, me too.
No.
I know. We're all.
But
That was the look, Matt, when you
Okay.
were talking, and we all looked very panicked. We're like, "It's me, isn't it?
Like-
It's me."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I hate that. I'm gonna try something. It might kick me out, but we'll just I'll come back if it happens. But let's just
Well,
do the go around with first impressions for this movie, starting with Jeanette. And if I go away, I'll come back. Don't worry.
We'll continue.
So I had no before they made this movie. I didn't know this was a book. I didn't know anything about it. I gathered things from people who had seen it when it came out, and I still hadn't seen it until I watched it for this. And yeah, so no ties to it. Giants are like literally like in the middle of like my mythical creature love. Like I don't hate them, I don't love them. So like it was all very nonplussing for me.
Well done. Am I still here?
You are?
Yes.
yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, the thing worked.
Rocking in the free world.
I turned off the Wi-Fi and went to pure Ethernet. So,
Oh.
yeah, I know.
Pure.
But in the past, when I've been on pure Ethernet, that's when I've had connection issues. So who knows? The internet's an unpredictable master. Lisa,
We are in Mercury retrograde, so
There
that's
it is.
messing everything up. So just
Yeah.
good week to have watched this movie. Then not wasting non-retrograde time on this piece of trash. Anyway,
wow.
Lisa, what did you think of the movie?
Okay. If anyone knows, if anyone was here for Peter Pan 2003, that is literally the lowest movie that you that's the bar. Like as long as you're better than that movie, you're good. So it was better for me. BFG was better than Peter Pan 2003. But it was rough. I did think the overall thing was cute, but other than that, I did not know that this movie existed prior to watching it. Don't really care about giants all that much, to be honest. So yeah. That's my hot take. That's my first initial hot take.
I like it's a good first hot take.
Yeah.
Mary, first impressions.
So I watched this last year when it was on Disney Plus. Today it was not on Disney Plus.
Right?
What happened? I don't know. Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah. It's not on
it's
Disney
on
Plus.
Disney Plus.
It's on Disney Plus for us in Canada,
In
but apparently
Canada.
not in the States.
Yeah. It was
They
there
get
last
everything on
year.
Disney Plus there. There's like no limits on their Disney Plus.
Oh,
Why
yeah,
would you
it's
even
true.
take one down? I don't understand the purpose of taking things off.
I know. They should be paying us to
Doesn't make
watch it.
All right?
Seriously. Yeah. Yeah. So I watched it last year and I remember being fairly bored, and I was bored again this time. It wasn't like terrible, but I mean, you know, I don't know. It was just meh.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were
Well
trying
said.
really hard to be Pixar there at the end with like the sun setting, and he's talking about her, you know, growing up, and it's like you're trying really hard to make people cry, but we don't care.
That's how I felt this whole time. I'm like, you're trying. You
Yeah.
are trying to get us to care about these characters, and I just very much do not.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have so much to say about that. So much to discuss. Quickly before we do, Morgan is here for a quick hello and goodbye because she's going to bed. Good night, Morgan.
Yes.
Sleep well. Continue educating the
soldier.
future generations.
Yes.
Don't teach this book to the kids because there are better ones.
Yeah.
Maybe
Hi,
the
Linda.
book's not that
My
bad.
Funko arrived. Thank you. Amanda ordered a Funko for me because I couldn't get a chip to Canada. It's Lucifer the cat. I'm so excited. I know. So good.
Yay.
Woo! Okay. So, this movie, I had such high expectations because it was Spielberg, but I also remembered having watched it when it first came out and turning it off. And I thought maybe I was younger and stupider, but nope, I was just as intelligent as I am now because I wanted to turn it off, but I forced myself to watch it. It took like 3 days in multiple viewings, but it happened. I just feel like Steve was phoning it in with this one. I don't think there was any passion behind it on his part, or at least I didn't feel any passion behind it. And this to me reminded me of why for a while in my life I didn't care for Spielberg as a director, because I used to feel, and I guess I still do feel, that sometimes it's just more about pretty looking things than anything story related. And that's what I got out of this. But I think that's more attributed to something else as well, but I'll touch on that later. But how did we feel about the direction, especially knowing that this is a Spielberg movie comparative to some of his other stuff, especially coming out of West Side Story last year, which I loved. It was my Spielberg renaissance. I was like, I do like him as a director. Now I don't know. Yeah. Mary, let's start with you.
It was very pretty.
Yes.
And that's about it.
That's
I
it.
don't know.
I hear you.
Yeah, I like the whole dream thing. Like, I feel like when he, you know, reconnected with the book, reconnected with the source material, read that, and probably was like, I'm going to make a movie based on this aesthetic that I have in my mind when I read about it in the book. And that's not a strong reason to make a movie.
Nope.
I also think who did the music again?
Oh, I'm not sure.
It was like John Williams, that guy, the guy who does everything.
Was it John Williams?
If it's the guy that does everything, it's John Williams. I don't know.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it was definitely John Williams. I think his music direction was phoned in as well. I feel like he just like used drafts of.
They were like, hey John Williams, make John Williams noises,
yeah,
and out
Yes.
came the soundtrack.
and like
Totally.
it was just like very like surface level from like both of them, I would say.
Mhm.
And when I really checked out, I mean, I checked out very early, but you know, the helicopter scene, like there was like no like musical like
Mhm.
climax there was also like that last hit by the big giant. Like there was no like major thud. So like the sound editing seemed a little like lackluster as well. I think a lot of people were just phoning it in, unfortunately. And that's
Mhm.
my That's how I feel based on like the leadership of the movie.
Well said.
Yeah.
Jeanette, what do you think?
Well, this I wasn't thinking like I had thought this when I watched it and I had forgot, but Yoda from Mark said it, and the music and kind of the overall feel of all the animated stuff felt like if you threw a dash of Lord of the Rings into a big pot of Harry Potter. So
Yeah.
it did feel very Potter-esque. That's a great description. But that like other than that, as far as like the actual direction, I'm interested because I noticed that it was a Disney and Amblin production, and I don't know how many of those there are. Like I didn't research it, but I couldn't think of one off the top of my head where I was like, "Oh yeah, Steven Spielberg, Amblin Entertainment actually worked with Disney." So like I wonder how much that changed what Steven Spielberg just on his own would have done. So that I think I felt that. I felt someone that had wanted to make a more serious movie that was told to make a less serious movie. You know, like I feel like there was going to be a lot of substance and then there just wasn't.
Yeah, farting giants.
Wow.
Yeah.
Although the farting corgis, that got me. That
was cute.
I usually like a big like explanation of a world, like this works this way, this works and there was a bunch of that and none of it grasped. Like none of it made me like the story more, which usually that sort of stuff does. Like world building elements, I'm like, yeah, and I buy into it and all that. But
I think it's because there wasn't any world building. It was just world dropping. Just 2 minutes into the movie, it's like, I've kidnapped the kid. Here's giant country. Catch up.
And now I'm going to explain these vegetables and like how bubbles work here. And like those things usually make me like a movie or at least like the story. But it didn't really do anything.
Yep. Agreed. I want to jump on something that Yoda from Merck said. Ginormous Dobby, aka the BFG. This reaffirmed to me why I hate CGI. Well, I use the word hate very loosely, but I don't care for CGI in most cases, and this movie is a prime example as to why. Because I think Sophie was phenomenal. Like I think that kid put in an amazing performance, especially considering that she was carrying the movie and acting against probably a literal brick wall. And so, like I felt like I was missing out on so much because she was paired with what's his name? Mark Rylance, the guy who played the BFG. And he's an amazing actor, but I don't think they did him any favors by having him do the motion capture situation because that just lost so much in his performance for me. Because I think Mark Rylance is somebody who does subtlety and nuance beautifully. Like I mean, I know he's like a theater actor first and foremost, but all of his film performances have been so subtle and like I said, like so nuanced. And I think that's what you need for the BFG. And I do think he was perfect casting for that role. But having that barrier, that CGI barrier between him and Sophie, I think that inhibited the performance and like the key relationship that's supposed to be the heart of this movie. And it's not that I didn't care because again, I think both of them were doing good performances, but since they couldn't connect because all the mechanics of how to create a CGI giant Dobby were getting in the way, then to me that like washed away the only thing that would have made me care about this film, which is those two. Like by the time they got on the cliff and they were chatting up before the military from the Queen came to eject people from their homeland, which is a whole other thing that we can discuss. Like that conversation with the sun setting, I thought this would be so nice if you were two actual actors who were having a scene and not just a girl talking to a tennis ball on a stick. So yeah, I don't know. Like, how did people feel about the CG in this movie, specifically about having a motion capture BFG?
So you remember in the Chip and Dale movie when they talk about that era of like Polar Express type animation about the stuff that looks right but
real,
doesn't
but
feel right? Yeah, it looks So I feel like this was on the other end of that. Like we had gotten pretty good. Like the BFG is great. The other giants have that weirdness about them, in my opinion. And yeah, the way that all of the animation of this era, when they tried to do these super detailed, more serious looking films, I feel like the way everything moves looks like slow and dumb, even though they're giants and they're supposed to. So maybe it works to their advantage. But like it all just kind of fit in that time period. And a lot of that animation doesn't, for as lifelike as it is, it seems to have less soul, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, exactly. The kind of like dead eyes because of the motion capture thing. It's called Uncanny Valley, where like your brain is just telling you something's not right here. And it's not obviously not as egregious as Polar Express, but it's very distracting still.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like Rylance did an amazing job with the voice acting of the
I was gonna say that.
As much as I disliked the dialogue, but that's part of the world. I think he did an amazing job of, characterizing who this giant is through his voice. But I so wished it was more like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids-esque, where it was just like a huge dude, like a human dude, and then they just super small Sophie. And then it was like, it would have been, I feel like that would have been way more interesting. You could still do cool CGI stuff if you want to with, the setting. But it was strange.
It was so strange. Like I would have preferred that they just put big ear prosthetics on Mark Rylance. And then and I think the reason it was so weird, like to jump off of what Mary said with Uncanny Valley ness, is that it felt very much like a human in a Pixar animated film. It kind of like Mary Poppins when she's with the penguins, except the animation was just too good. So I would have preferred that Sophie just also be a cartoon, that they went all the way in that direction.
I was gonna say it shocks me how good and how like lucid everything in like Who Framed Roger Rabbit looks. And then to see it all these years later still sometimes muddied up a little bit is kind of weird. To be like that far out from what I consider to be a really successful showing of that technology, and then to have better technology and like just try to, if they just draw it back a little bit and like don't try to have less pixie dust floating in the dream things and just focus more on like making everything feel better. I don't know. I feel like it would be a better use of time, but I'm not an animator, so
right. Yeah.
Guy who played BFG was fantastic in Dunkirk. Yeah. I read that. I was like, is he joking? But then I remembered, no, Mark Rylance was in Dunkirk. So yeah. Agreed. No, we love Mark Rylance. He's fantastic. I just forgot to see Mark Rylance. But we didn't.
Agreed. His voice was so good. It really made me want to like him. And then
I know. And I feel like so few actors could pull off that dialogue because of how weird it is. And I even read in my like 5 minutes of wiki research whilst watching the movie, because I got bored, and it was like, I'll be more entertained by learning about why this was made as opposed to watching the actual thing that got made. But evidently it was in development for like 20 some odd years. They wanted to make it in the early 90s, and then it was going to be Robin Williams as the BFG, which on like first impression, love it. But then they outright said that it was bad because he had such a hard time with the dialogue being the way it is that he wasn't able to do his Robin Williams thing of improvising and like adding his own spin on it. So I think he was trying to, but
his voice kind of, in my opinion, makes you think of a character that moves quickly, and none of these giants move right. His voice like doesn't match a giant, I feel. But I mean, I would have taken him as pretty much anything.
Oh yeah, me too. But no, I guess I'm glad that movie didn't happen, but I'm also not happy that this movie happened. So that is
maybe
what that
if it had happened in the 90s with the current people, but just time hop,
less technology.
Practical effects, do it like they used to.
Well, I guess that's a good segue into what I want to say next, which is from what we could suss out of the story and the stuff that Roald Dahl gave us in terms of the book. Like, I don't think any of us have actually read the book, but narrative wise, do we think that this is a story that's worth anyone's time to turn into a movie? Because I think it's simplistic in the way that's not super effective.
Yeah, kind of like last week. I kind of wish it was like a shorter movie, like a short, because all of the fun stuff happens in the last like 30 minutes when they figure out what they're going to do. They go talk to the queen, they have a plan, and then they start executing it. It's like, that's like the fun, interesting part. And the rest of it was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
I don't know how like Roald Dahl felt about his own work. Like I'm sure there's something somewhere where it talks about how he felt like about this specific story, but it doesn't seem like one of the stronger stories in his repertoire. And I think translating into a movie, even though I don't have any knowledge of the book, it seems flimsy. Like the first part seems flimsy. I think the world building is fine, but I don't know. It's only a 2-hour movie, and I was like, wow, this feels long. And I don't know.
Building on that, I was gonna say, whenever I was thinking, I was like, why was it so boring? Rarely do I feel when I watch a movie like, oh, that's a kid's movie. I don't like to classify things that way. I think that kids can enjoy things of different genres as much as anybody, right? But this was one of those movies that I watched and I was like, oh, it's just a kid's movie. Like there wasn't like subliminal comedy, there wasn't some darker, deeper tale, there wasn't, there was no element that was there for adults. There was also like, unlike Roald Dahl's other books, there just didn't seem to be a sense of danger. I know this kid could have gotten eaten by giants, but it never seemed like it was really a thing that was going to happen. I don't know. There was not that darkness or any of that impending danger to a child that I felt or that I feel in almost every other Roald Dahl book. So I was like, this is really just, it's almost like the epitome of a children's tale. I feel like there's just not, but like the witches, I mean, come on, like that's a mild horror movie at, if you want to, it's pretty, and I like that. And they don't all have to be that way, but they all have some other thing usually that takes them out of just being a benign children's tale.
Yeah, well said. I feel like what I was missing was I didn't get any sense of Sophie's orphanage life. Like we just saw her really by herself at night, and then we just take it on her word that she doesn't like it there. But it just felt like it was missing the classic Roald Dahl-ness to show us just how bad her orphanage life is, that she would rather hang out with the scary giant than go back there. And even just to have the payoff that like she gets to live in the palace at the end with the queen. Like I would care more about that if I got to see again how bad orphanage life was for her. Like we didn't have that classic inciting incident, well, not inciting incident, but like world establishment that exists in almost every other Roald Dahl story, where just Fast and Furious is like, this is a child, this is how bad their life is, here's the magical thing that's going to fix it for them. Like she just seems
that's just the lack of care of like the narrative of the story, which is like they spent all their time making sure the dream stuff looks great.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, do you know next week's James and the Giant Peach, right?
Yeah.
Next week's stuff is literally like 180s and total black and white to literally everything we're saying. Like every note that we're saying, I'm like, because I started it like kind of rolled right into it. See what I did there? But it went into James and the Giant Peach, and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. And so I started watching it. I was like, oh my God, this is like
so much better.
So much better.
So much. Yeah, the 80s and the 90s knew how to do Roald Dahl movies. I will say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, and the 70s, because Wonka. Basically, it was just like the 2000s when the Roald Dahl movies started falling by the wayside. Yeah. Although Fantastic Mr. Fox, again, like I can recognize, I think that's a well-made movie, even though I just think it's boring, but I think it's well-made and boring. I think this is boring and not well-made. So, 2 strikes.
Yeah, it's like mediocre across the board.
Well, in the comments, this girl loves Liam Payne says the book was better. Also says that they love your Jack Skellington Funko Pop, Jeanette.
Ah, yes. He's here. See, I'm so bad.
Oh,
I'm
I
getting
saw your
better.
Madame Leota. I thought that was cool.
I love all the Funkos. Makes me so happy. Bob Hunt says, being a language nerd, I enjoy the constructed language. He mentions twice in the book how he gets words mixed up. Dahl worked hard on rehabilitating his wife's speech after a brain hemorrhage. Oh,
That's so
Oh.
cool.
Dang.
that.
Yeah.
See,
like,
I feel like I would like knowing more about Roald Dahl's reasons why he wrote these stories.
mhm.
Not to say I
Right.
don't like the movies based on his books, but like that is so interesting.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that makes so much sense.
Now, I also read, I didn't delve into details, but BFG, the book is dedicated to one of his children who died at like age 7 of pneumonia or something similar. So just with that little bit of context, I think you get a better sense of what the heart of the relationship is between Sophie and BFG, because it does feel like it has that parent-child warmth to it, which
Yeah.
and again, I think for as simple as the story is, I do like both of those characters as characters. I just don't think the narrative is as good as they are.
Yeah, no, exactly. The BFG, the character himself, is a charming character. And that alternative language, like, again, that's a world building element that makes me want to get into it. But I really just get into his character. I don't get into like the story or the movie.
Oh, Yoda has the context. His brain trauma at 4, gosh, and his daughter
Jeez.
7 with measles.
Wow.
Oh my
God.
That's so sad.
For as a kid, I found this book and thought it looked like rubbish. I just why it's based on the film. I was completely right.
I've always loved the art on these books, like the weird squiggly little like scraggly.
It's
looking
very
things.
sketchy. It was very 70s, like when a lot of these were being published, I think. Like that kind of, it's almost like Shel Silverstein. And I think that's when I was a kid, I think I said this before, I would get them confused, Shel Silverstein and Roald Dahl. And I think it was like the sketchy illustration look.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I think my internet's being weird. Am I okay?
It's doing it. You're
Yeah.
glitchy again.
Oh no.
Glitchy
Amongst
McGlitcherson.
yourselves. Talk among yourselves whilst I wait to reconnect.
I would
That was a
sorry, go for it, Jeanette.
no. Go ahead.
No, I was so Bill Hader is listed as a cast member. Which
saw that.
giants did he play?
I feel like only the one giant even spoke.
Exactly.
There was
It
other
was just, like,
giants.
speaking.
But it didn't sound like him, and I'm sure he's an amazing voice actor, but I don't clock him as a voice actor.
Yeah.
So-
No,
He-
he
well,
wasn't
no, he
the
does a
main
great
giant.
job.
He was the like I want to say tertiary, even though I don't know how to use that word, but I think he was like the third most important giant, like the slightly smarter giant
Yeah.
out of the
don't-
bullies. Yeah.
The queens, this nobody else is probably going to care about this, and I don't know this actor's name, so forgive me. But the random fact: the guy who's the queen's like little helper dude,
Yeah.
he's the bad guy in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom.
Ooh.
Oh.
I just noticed it when I was watching the movie. At first I thought he was that guy that does that Discovery Channel show where he like discovers treasures or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? It looked like that guy, and I was like, "Is that him?" But no.
That's interesting.
I thought they were going to do like a Miss Honey kind of thing with
Yeah, totally saw that
the
coming.
assistant, like the queen's
Mhm.
hand. I was like, oh, is she going to be like a Miss Honey character? No, nothing.
No.
Kind of.
Very
At the
It
end,
was
she's like,
kind of
you know,
implied, but
A little
again,
bit.
not
wake
explored.
up, darling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like her and the queen's assistant guy maybe like getting together. I got
Yeah.
like tiny romantic sparks, and I just thought, oh, like, are they building the family that Sophie would like that's made of humans and not one giant?
Mhm.
That'd be worth exploring, but I guess you're not going to do it. You're just going to tell me at the end that the BFG can hear you when you talk out your window. Creepy. And then that's how the movie ended. It was very
Yeah.
strange.
Exposition. The
Exposition
whole
indeed.
time.
But going back to Roald Dahl and how his life and his beliefs and everything influenced his writing. Something that I've kind of found in this whole marathon is I feel like, and maybe this is me reading too much into it, in some ways I feel like his books are reflections of personal and political beliefs that he had that are kind of problematic and out of date right now. Like when I just look at this specifically, just the fact that it ends with the queen invading giant country and moving all the giants out, and then, like, granted they are monsters, but still like from the perspective of a British guy in the 50s and the 60s preaching going to the queen to displace a bunch of people from their native habitat, I'm like, Roald, what were you saying here?
Yeah.
What were you saying? And I think I'm just more attuned to that because of all the discourse surrounding the death of Queen Elizabeth II, which has me like just reassessing how I've never cared about the monarchy, but just reassessing everything about her specifically and thinking like, was she a bad person? Was she a good person? How do I feel? And I still don't know the answers to all that, but just having an awareness of that, I think, and then watching this movie, it just made me question, like, what was Roald Dahl trying to say, or is that just a coincidence? Like, does anyone think that that might have been an intentional thing, or is Matt reading too deep into it because the queen just died?
I mean, I think it could be both. I don't know.
Yeah. If he really believed, if he was a what is that,
colonialist?
Monarchist.
If he really felt that way, it wouldn't have to be intentional. It would potentially just show up no matter how he was writing. So it's both unintentional, yet yes, that could be why, if you get what I mean. Like, those things would just show up in how he felt and described it anyway. So even if he didn't really intend it to be, it's likely, right? Again, just because, like you said, just of the times, somebody who lived of the times, like.
Yeah.
Well said. Well said. What do we have here? I always like the author lens. Barry had some neurodiverse reads as well with Peter Pan. He did work in Washington. Oh, did he? Things I don't know. So what, but I guess leading into my next question, like what was the point of getting rid of the giants?
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like they'd been there for a while, presumably. All of a sudden it was a big issue, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was
like, I just don't like the whole, he tried to explain the giants' origin and how, like, they don't have mothers and fathers and, like, they've always just been there. It just seems like such a cop-out explanation for, like, who they are. And so for then kicking out, like, the bullies, I'm like, okay, yes, they're bullies, but you're just gonna live in giants country all by yourself?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's no meat to that story.
Also, do we ever get an explanation why he's a tiny giant?
Right.
Yeah.
He's just the runt.
I just don't get it. I was like, what? Why
There
is he
has
the
to be
tiny
something
giant?
in the book for that.
I thought it was
know.
because, like, I thought the tones of meat eating versus non-meat eating were interesting too. And I forget when this was published, but
It was the 80s at some point.
Okay. So, like, it's just very interesting to me. And I guess that would have been a topic then. Like, I mean, that's a pretty obvious story or a message, maybe, that at least I thought it was pretty obvious. Like, he won't eat humans. He doesn't eat meat. He gets all the vegetables. And then the other giants are like, ew, you eat vegetables, like. And I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting, and to me, I kind of focused in on that, and I was like, "What's he trying to tell us? Is he like pro-vegetarian? Is he?"
Right?
This is a tiny giant. All the other giants are bigger. Is he telling? I don't know. I was like, I thought that was a weird thing. And then I will say, and this doesn't have to do with what we're talking about right now, but there was one moment in the whole thing that I really connected with. When she's in that thing and she gets her glasses back and she puts on her glasses and she looks around and she's like sees everything in the giant world for the first time, like, clearly. I'm legally blind without my glasses. So I was like, oh, that would be really good. Because that's always a fear of mine, to be stuck somewhere without being able to see. And so, yeah, that moment right there that was like probably my favorite part of the whole movie. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's parts of this story that are really interesting, and I wish like a script writer could just like do away without some things like the whole banishing the giants from their homeland, and like focus on the origin of the giants, like if there were the first people, the first species on the world, that's cool. Or like I just think that there is potential in the story for to be making a really cool film, but I just think like they copied and pasted what was in the book and didn't expand, or maybe they left things out. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, like I felt like the backstory that was implied for the BFG's other friend, the one whose coat Sophie is wearing, like that to me seemed like a more interesting story than anything we got out of this.
But isn't that the boy in the book? Like that's what I felt like was being implied, because Sophie's not in the book. It's a boy and a giant. I thought it was like a little.
I think it's Sophie in the book, but let me check.
Yeah, I might be wrong.
I only think that because when I was 7 and the BFG, my scene partner was a girl, and I'm almost positive her character was also a Sophie. But let me check.
Yeah, that sounds right. It really makes me want to read the book, just because I feel like there's so much missing from this movie that could have made it good. And I feel like the book probably has those answers.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be shocked if the book didn't have the answers, because I think this is one of the shorter books. Sophie is in the book. That's the thing. Okay. No, I think kind of like Fantastic Mr. Fox, this is one of his stories that is very bare bones and is mostly just a case of like, here are some characters. Here's a very minute conflict they have to overcome.
That sort of comes out of nowhere. She he's about to take her back, and she gets back to the giant world or whatever, and then she's like, I've got an idea. It's like, okay. Was this like established as a thing we need to do? Why are you just coming up with this random, we need to get rid of the other giants? Okay. Why doesn't the BFG find someplace else to live? I don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if the BFG's nice, why doesn't he just come live in the regular world?
Right?
The queen knows.
Yeah, that was my thing. I was like, do we have to move them? They're kind of like out of everybody's way, aren't they? Like way the heck out there or something? Like,
oh, we could like do a whole, like the story could like end up in like a whole commentary about refugees and like taking in and caring for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Accepting differences.
I guess all I could think is that there wouldn't be any place really for the BFG to live comfortably, but I'm sure there's open fields they could develop for him in England. Like they could have a home for him if they wanted. It's also disheartening that at the beginning he tells Sophie that he doesn't want to bring her back because she'll tell everyone about the giants, and then like they'll try to kill him. And then that's exactly what happens at the end, but just to the other giants. She's like, no, don't worry. I'm not about that. And then it's like, yes, you are, Sophie. You outed all these bully giants, and now they have to live on this island with only snozberries or whatever they're called, snozcumbers or
snozcumbers.
They should have really just like taken him in and like housed him on the cliffs of Dover, and that could have been his home, and that could have been like a tourist attraction maybe. And that's like making the giant a tourist attraction. That's a whole other commentary. Yeah.
Unless maybe he needed to stay in giant country, because isn't that where the dreams are farmed? I didn't pay much attention, but
you can make dreams. Like if you mix dreams together.
True. True. And you could terraform the dreams as well somewhere in England. Yeah, like those the bully giants, they weren't hurting anybody except for the BFG. They could have just stayed where they were.
Weren't they stealing children?
Were they actually stealing children, or did they just implant that dream into the queen?
I have no idea. That's the problem.
Yeah.
There's a newspaper that says children are going missing. Did they just, frame?
Oh yeah, true. Maybe they were kidnapping children. That's how much I paid attention.
Very confusing.
Yeah. There it is. This is a movie that exists.
Yeah.
It happened.
It happened.
And
It happened.
And
Oh,
We
there it
watched
is, like,
it.
yeah.
Sorry, one of my lights just fell over. I was like,
Was it the
what
giant? Was it the giant? Oh my gosh.
Giant.
So yeah, any writer who does good stuff, they're not all going to be winners.
That's
And
fine.
but I do feel like I question why this movie was made. And I know, like I said, it had a long production history with different studios having the rights and like just wanting to make it. But something that I thought was interesting that we noticed, or that either Jeanette or Mary brought up last week with Fantastic Mr. Fox, is that this movie as well opened with like Roald Dahl's
Yeah.
The BFG.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a reason that this movie wasn't made sooner, like that it wasn't made when all the other Roald Dahl movies were being made, because it's not as good.
Yeah,
And now
it's
I
not
do think-
anybody's first pick. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not anyone's first pick to go to the bookshelf and be like, this is the one that I want to read right now. And
Yeah.
so I definitely think that this movie was made just to profit off of his name and to profit off of the popularity of the nostalgia that people have for those other, like for the good movies, for Wonka, Matilda, James and the Giant Peach, and The Witches. Those are really probably the only good ones.
I wonder if he was still alive to see this, how he would feel about
he would hate it. He hated all the movies
He
based on
never
his
much cared for movies. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually was I mean, like, the man lived through some pretty crazy stuff, obviously, but he was kind of a grumpy old man. He really wasn't like he I don't know. That's what I've taken away from most of the things I've read and heard, that he's
Yeah, he seemed like he had a traumatic life. And
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, I'm forgiving about it, but it wasn't like he was like, freaking Mr. Rogers or anything.
Mr. Rogers.
Oh my gosh.
What's that?
Not everyone can be Mr. Rogers.
Oh, okay.
That's true.
This don't want to spoil the book, and don't blame Dahl. This is the third movie that was bought and then transferred to a different studio. Like, that makes so much sense to me, because it has that convoluted feeling of this has been through many people's hands, and that's why it doesn't have a cohesive vision. So
yeah, it didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
there it is. But yeah, Roald Dahl, like, famously, he hated the Wonka movie with Gene Wilder, to the point where he said no other movies can be made in my books while I'm still alive. He faltered on that, and he was around for when The Witches was made, and he almost liked The Witches, but then they changed the ending on him, and then he hated it. So he liked it when they had the original ending where he just stayed a mouse, basically.
Yeah.
And well, again, I kind of like the new ending, but that's just me. I'm not Roald Dahl. But yeah, Roald Dahl would have hated this. I think that's where this ends. And I don't know. I feel like he would have hated Matilda. I don't know why. I just think he hate. Well, out of all of them, I suspect Matilda might be the one that's the closest to what he wrote.
Yeah.
And the only major change that they made was letting her keep her magic at the end, which maybe Roald had a passionate reason for making her lose her powers. Who knows? So maybe he'd be okay with that. But yeah, I also found it interesting that this movie didn't seem to make any big, massive changes, because that's sort of been the thing with a lot of these Roald Dahl films. Like, they changed the ending to Matilda with her getting to keep the magic. The Witches original movie, they changed the ending with them not staying mice. From what I can suss out, this is pretty exactly what the book is, and it's just making me think that Roald Dahl adaptations are better when you do change the ending. That's my conclusion.
Well, because I think he very much wanted children to know you can't have your cake and eat it too. Life can be better, but you know, the magic goes away. You have to stay a mouse. But things are going to be better. It's,
real life lessons. Yeah.
Love that. The magic goes away. You have to stay a mouse.
You get to live with the queen. I don't know.
Yeah, this one is like the
that was
opposite.
weird
He's like,
too.
no, if you dislocate native people, you will get to live in British castles. So.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the BFG got
You're
to
not
stay
wrong.
on his land. They just got rid of all the other people.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
don't know.
We're bullies anyway, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
I feel like
Yeah.
Roald Dahl must have been really bullied as a child. All of his books are like, there's so many bullies. There's
Mhm.
bullies in
Well,
school,
this
there's
is a
giants.
lot of dark stuff in a life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
think a lot of that comes out of his experiences at boarding school, from what I've read. It just sounds
Oh.
like that was a terrible time for him when he was a kid and he was sent away to school. So it kind of checks out. Like, I think the
Yeah.
Giants, they're an interesting device, especially if you parallel them with bullies in Sophie's life. But again, we don't get to see that. We don't get to see what's up at the orphanage or
Yeah.
what she's dealing with. And I think if we had that perspective as well, then it would give a little bit more too, to give us common ground as to why the BFG connects with Sophie. And yeah, that's what I'm always going to bring it back to. That
Yeah.
those characters could work, but the movie doesn't do them any favors, and I suspect the book doesn't either. So there we are. It's this very Robin Williams attitude with Dahl. His father was in forestry, worked for Shell Oil, never had to compromise to live. I love how Yoda from Mark has all the facts. Good
Thank you,
times.
Yoda.
Good times. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Yoda from Mark. I don't know. What else do you have to say about this movie?
Um,
Um,
I don't know.
one thing that
That-
bothered me was the perspective or the like size of the other giants. I feel like changed so many different times. Like they seemed one size inside of his house, and then when the English come to
Right.
get them, they're the same size as the plane. Like, are
Yeah.
these planes huge? Can these planes lift? How? What? I don't know.
And why
I
were
felt
why
like there were things.
why were they so prepared for this exact circumstance? Like, those helicopters had perfectly sized nets for these
Yeah.
giants.
The BFG wasn't like, hey, these guys are a lot bigger than me.
Yeah.
How do they know?
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
know.
the size differentials of a lot of things. I feel like this is like, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with this reference, but this is like Vin Diesel in the Fast and the Furious ride, where he's like the same size as the helicopter, and I'm like, were you that big before, or is that a tiny helicopter?
That's
'Cause-
wild.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my god.
I mean, I'm not surprised that they had nets that size. They are the British military.
Yeah, true.
Like, I'm sure they
They've displaced a people or two, so
yeah, or like they like
they're ready. They're ready.
thing. I don't know. But the size, yeah, like I feel like the main giant, he changed sizes throughout based on different.
Maybe that's a magical power that they have that we also didn't learn
Maybe.
about. That would have been cool to know.
I wouldn't be
Maybe.
surprised. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we also need to give reverence and respect to the real stars of this film, which again were the corgis. Did anyone else love the dogs? Because I loved them.
Right.
As soon as they showed up and ran into the room. Oh my gosh.
I
And when they
just want a
started,
movie full of corgis.
I know. Oh, like I just want I want a movie about the Queen's corgis living in Buckingham Palace, but I say that, and I discovered today while I was doing research for our game that movie does actually exist. There's a
Oh.
movie about one of the corgis, and it's a like cartoon. It looks like it was what direct to streaming or direct to DVD situation, but it exists. So if anyone wants to seek it out, there is a movie about the Queen's corgis. So fantastic.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yes. I also thought it was interesting to see that they picked Queen Elizabeth because the book doesn't specify who the Queen is. And it also doesn't specify a time period. So that to me was interesting that they made the choice for
I thought
it
it was
to
Queen
be the 80s.
Victoria.
I thought it was going to be Queen Victoria because of when she was looking at the painting.
Yeah,
And
but no, because the drunks at the beginning of the movie were dressed in like not biker jackets, but like
true.
sweaters and jeans.
Right.
And I was like, that's not Queen Victoria.
That's not Queen Victoria.
Yeah, and the description on Xfinity that comes with the movie or on Amazon or wherever I watched it literally says that it's Queen Victoria.
Oh, well, it's
And
wrong.
so that's why, and I thought the same thing. I was like, well, this time period looks very not right.
Mhm.
No.
I was like, so yeah, okay, good. I'm glad I'm not crazy anymore. I don't know.
Like-
Maybe I don't know anything.
they spend a long shot when when Sophie is in the tree hut thing hiding from the big giants and she dusts off a picture of Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
And that's why I spent 5 minutes of that scene thinking, is it
Now,
Queen Victoria?
I will say, I think maybe it is, because wouldn't Queen Victoria have still been alive then, and she would be old? Because Queen Elizabeth wasn't that old in the 60s, was she?
No, well, Queen Victoria died in like 1900,
Oh,
I
what?
believe, because then we went into the Edwardian
okay.
period.
Yeah.
And then, no, because the Queen's mother was also Elizabeth, and so she was the Queen mother. But I feel like the Queen Victoria picture was a remnant from like the BFG's other friend, like the first
Yeah, the
friend
boy.
who had the jacket.
And his jacket
Hmm.
seemed kind of old-ish.
Yeah.
Also, if they were trying to do like an older Victoria, that actor that they got looks like Elizabeth II.
Oh,
and
it's
not
totally
Victoria.
the corgis.
Yeah, I mean the corgis. Also, just like the way that her right hand woman was dressed in her suit dress was
Yeah.
that was also not very accurate. Like the costumes of people. I know that you didn't you're not spending a lot of time focusing on the drunks or this assistant, but you gotta kind of be accurate, don't you not?
Just consistent, maybe.
I don't know.
Well, from what I gather, the book has a lot of anachronisms, and I love an anachronistic fantasy movie. Like, those are my favorite types. But I think this film definitely thought they made a choice as to what year or decade this was happening, but they didn't fully commit to it because it did,
Yeah.
just based on the Queen's age and kind of the wardrobe and kind of the transportation and technology. I do think it was around the 80s when it was when the book was written, or maybe mid 90s. And I would have liked to see this in the Victorian era. Granted, the helicopters wouldn't have made sense, and helicopters are from the book, but still, somehow to me, Queen Victoria makes more sense as the reigning monarch for this story.
Yeah.
We need a military aircraft specialist to tell us what those helicopters were.
Exactly.
Then we could probably time date.
So apparently the book mentions that Sophie recognizes the Queen from stamps and coins. So yeah, there you go. But something interesting that it pointed out was that orphanages didn't exist or weren't called orphanages in the late 20th century. So that's another thing that's kind of weird. If they're picking a time period that, if she's from an orphanage, you don't call those anymore, Sophie. The sign wouldn't say orphanage. It would say foster home.
Yeah, it was pretty loosey-goosey.
Yeah. No, and I think this is an example of certain things are just better left to book worlds.
Yeah.
Because when you have to make choices, it just proves that, no. Didn't the Queen... Did she want to get on the phone with Nancy Reagan?
Yeah,
or is this being funny?
She was.
Really?
She was on the phone.
What's Nancy saying or something like that? And I'm like,
Nancy is Ronnie there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. I was
the phone.
Who's going to play Richard Nixon?
Can you imagine if Richard Nixon got in on this giant drama? Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
That would have been wild.
Just oh wow. Now I just want to see that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think this movie would have changed at all if they had set it in the United States and she had to deal with the president over the Queen?
I don't think much changes story-wise.
I just dislike the whole getting the Queen involved, and I think I would have disliked having a president get involved. I get the whole authority figure, that archetype being in place into this narrative, but I don't know. It's just so unrealistic for a kid. It is all unrealistic. It's a fantasy, of course, but because I don't buy anything else that's being built into the narrative, it's hard for me to be it could work in the United States.
Right. And I think the reason it, to my mind, I know I'm the one who asked the question, but still, I think the reason that the Queen works better than a president would work is that to a kid, like Yoda from Mark mentioned, the Queen is on the money, the Queen is on the stamps, the Queen is everywhere. So to somebody who's that young, the Queen represents a consistent beacon of like security or hope. Not to say at all that that's what she is or was, but still, like, to a child, especially assuming living in England, like, she's the consistent. So I think it does make sense to have her be the one that you go to, hoping that she'll solve the problems. And I think it's a very optimistic take of Roald Dahl to say that, like, yes, she will. Like, a child can go to the queen and say, I have this problem, and the queen will just listen and fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was not going to end the way that it did. I was like, she's got an idea there, but this is not going to work out. There's going to be some other thing. And it was like, nope, this is a great plan. Let's do it. I'm on board.
It was a very optimistic device. And it would have been interesting if it was more, not realistic, but more of a challenge or an obstacle for Sophie and the Giant.
Yeah.
The queen wasn't so, yes, I'll listen to you because I had a dream.
That's all it took.
Yeah.
Just to mess with her brain. And then there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly felt like one of the most unrealistic things about the movie was that the Queen's Guard stood down against the giant just when because she told him to stand down. It's like, if you saw a giant British military,
you would shoot.
Yeah. Like, even if the Queen, I'm assuming, even if the Queen says don't shoot, your priority is to save the royal family. So I think they would automatically they take down the giant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, Roald Dahl. I think he was a royalist. That's what I'm taking from all this. The Queen will solve everything. So, speaking of that, let's move on to today's game, which is called Name That Queen.
I can't wait. I'm not a monarchist.
Suck at this.
But I do know a lot of monarchy.
Yeah. Oh, like, I don't want to say I love the monarchy, but I'm fascinated by them.
Yeah. It's like,
Yes.
I don't believe in conspiracy theories, but I like knowing about them.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So hold on, let me see if I can pull it up here. Because I encourage everyone in the comments to play along as well. The way that this game will work is this entire thing is focused around actresses who have played queens in film and television history.
Ooh.
Some of these queens, and they're not just people who've played Queen Elizabeth. I tried that for a second, but the game would have been too hard, even by my own standards. So these are both fictional queens as well as real life historical figures that have been portrayed in films and TV shows. So everything is fair game, like fictional queens, real queens, etc., etc. So I am going to tell you a fun fact about the actor who played a specific queen. You have an opportunity to get 2 points. 1 point by naming said actor/actress, and another point by telling me in which film or TV show they played a queen.
Oh.
Yes.
So we never actually have to tell you what queen they played.
No, you don't have to say which queen they played.
If we can name the queen, can we get a third point?
Sure. Why not? Let's do it.
Okay, so wait, what's the first thing? TV show?
Name of the actress.
Okay.
The movie or TV show in which they played a queen, and then possible third point, the name of the queen that they played.
Okay, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Like, this has potential to really shake up
Yeah.
the scores. I love this. Okay.
Uh,
Mary. Okay, here we go. Number 1. This queen originated the role of Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady. This queen on Broadway / in the West End, wherever that musical opened, not in the movie. So this queen originated the role of Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady, the musical.
Okay, hold on.
So since everyone has an opportunity to write a lot of things, just let me know when your stuff's written. I know Lisa knows this. Mary, you look so distraught.
Okay,
I have nothing to write down. I have no freaking clue.
Oh, Mary, I'm gonna say guess. And your first instinct on this specific question is probably right.
So the actress that plays the queen in the Broadway musical. Wait, what?
Oh no! So the actress we're looking for the name of played Eliza
Mhm.
Doolittle in My Fair Lady. So you need to tell me the name of the actress. You need to tell me the thing in which she played the queen. So she didn't play the queen in My Fair Lady. That's just the actress.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sorry, my brain was like,
Yeah.
really trying.
Oh no,
there.
you don't need
Okay,
to connect
okay.
those dots. You don't need to connect those dots.
Mm.
And I was about to say there's not even a queen in My Fair Lady, but there is. But she's only there for like 5 seconds at the embassy ball. She's the queen of Transylvania, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. And Eliza like meets her, and then she looks at her. She's like, charming, simply charming. It's a beautiful moment. Yes.
Okay.
Or
I came in 11th last night. Matt's quizzes are too hard. I'll admit, last night's quiz, it was harder than most of the other ones.
You want a Mac quiz or you want a Bondo mashup? Which one is harder?
Exactly. Normally, my Kahoot trivia nights, they have an average score of like 49% when I go back and look at everything. And last night's had a 29%. So
oh my gosh.
I know, too difficult.
Right.
But still, Jeanette won. Woo! Okay, let's see our answers in 3, 2, 1. Name the queen. Audrey Hepburn, War and Peace. Yeah, so we are looking for Julie Andrews in The Princess Diaries as the Queen of Genovia.
Oh,
Also said Geneva.
Well, whatever, close enough.
it's Genovia, isn't it?
It's Genova.
Sharon Needles.
Oh, yeah.
Sharon Needles.
I know. I thought you'd throw in some drag queens. I'm ready for it.
That might happen at some point. That might happen.
I am ready
Wait for the bonus question. There we go. Oh, did you say Geneva, Lisa?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. You have 2 points. See,
fine.
Had you not pointed that out.
I know. I should have just said nothing.
All right. Okay. Next, this queen is not Audrey, but shares her last name. This queen is not Audrey, but shares her last name. I just realized, since I didn't prep myself to have the name of the queen be an extra point, I don't actually know the name of the queen that this person played, so I need to look it up. This one's a little bit more of a niche queen movie, but it's one of my personal favorites.
Really? Interesting. I don't know the movie, but I think I know the queen.
I think I know where you're going with this. I hope it's a go with me moment.
Okay.
Because that's where I'm going, is a go with me moment.
Let's see, in 3, 2, 1. So yes, we were looking for Katharine Hepburn.
That's all I got.
What? And I don't think she played Queen Elizabeth I. I was going for she played Queen Eleanor in The Lion in Winter.
Oh my!
It has
gosh.
Queen in the title.
It does, but that's a boat.
That's a boat, Jeanette.
No, you're looking for Queen Eleanor.
Okay.
Queen Eleanor.
But do I get a point for Katharine Hepburn?
Yes, you got a point for Katharine. Everyone got a point for Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, well,
yes. Yeah, the fiery red-haired pants-wearing trailblazer. Everyone loves her. Okay, next. This queen beat out Glenn Close for the Best Actress Oscar in 2019 for playing a queen. This queen... 2019. This queen won the Best Actress Oscar in 2019 for playing a queen. And she beat Glenn Close. This was the year everyone thought Glenn Close was going to win for... It's called like The Wife or The Writer. I think it was called The Wife. The movie where she's Jonathan Pryce's wife and she's actually the one who writes all his books. I hope Glenn Close wins an Oscar one day. Like, running out of time, but What Life Soft Life is here. Hi, Brittany. Okay, and there is an opportunity to get a lot of points because this specific actress has played more than one queen.
Yeah, I know. That's why you're giving me a fright right now. I can't decide which. I have like 2 written, and I'm like,
write them all. You'll get a point for every single one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah.
Did this actress win her Oscar for playing a queen?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
For the movie she was nominated and won for?
Yeah. So she won her Oscar for playing a queen, but she has also played a queen in something else as well. She's played a queen more than once. But yes, the Oscar-winning role was a queen.
I need a list of movies from 2019.
I know, me too.
I'm completely clueless.
All right. Answers in 3, 2, 1.
I got nothing.
Yes, we were looking for Olivia Colman. So that was for Lisa.
Okay, I suck. I don't even
I
know
think I
who
got
that
the
is.
title of the second one wrong.
It was
I can't
in The
remember.
Favorite. That is
Yeah.
correct.
I can't. The one with Emma Stone. Is that called the other?
No, she's also played Queen Elizabeth in The Crown.
Yes, can I get that
Oh.
point?
Did you write The Crown?
I wrote Elizabeth II.
Was it the first a second ago?
Yes.
For ingenuity, sure. There we go.
Oh, it is The Favorite. For some reason I
But
thought
what
there was
queen did
another
she
one.
play in The Favorite?
In The Favorite, is it Queen Anne?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
it's Queen
know.
Anne.
That's the better one. That movie is so good. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
The Favorite is Queen Anne confirmed. I don't know who that is, but when did Queen Anne? Oh, 1700s. Okay. Before my time.
God.
Next.
Hard.
This queen appeared as Nick Cage's mom in National Treasure 2. This queen appeared as Nick Cage's character's mother in National Treasure 2.
I haven't seen those yet.
What? They're so good.
I'll just see myself out.
It's like the Da Vinci Code, but more fun and less religious.
I haven't seen that either. I'm a hermit
Who was?
and I don't watch movies apparently.
National Treasure is so
Take a
good.
guess. Nick Cage's
I must admit to have never seen the second one, so I have no idea.
It's not as good, obviously, but still, this lady's in it and everyone loves her. Let's see the answers in 3, 2, 1. Trixie Mattel.
I wish it was Trixie Mattel.
Anyone? No. We were looking for Helen Mirren.
Really? She's a
I was
National
trying so hard to
Treasure
think
She
of
was
some
in
old
National
woman.
Treasure. Oh, geez. I
Yeah,
can't
she's
get
Nick
past
Cage's
Nick
mom.
Playing Nick Cage in
Yeah.
everything. So
So yeah, she of course she played the queen in The Queen, which won her an Oscar. She was also the
Yeah.
queen in, I think his name is Peter Morgan, in his play The Audience, where she played the queen at every stage of her life. And that same guy is the one who created The Crown. So he's just like obsessed with the royal family.
yeah.
He's moved through film, theater, now TV. Even though I feel like I've read that he doesn't actually like the monarchy, but he's just interested in them, which I can respect that.
Like us.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're very fancy.
Next, this queen appeared in Power of the Dog. We watched that a few
Lord.
months ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
This queen appeared in Power of the Dog.
What's her name?
Okay. Oh, I know this one. Oh. Wait,
And really,
hold
you just have to,
on. Oh yeah.
I don't want to give anything away, but I will. You'll get double points if you just write one thing, because the name of the queen is the name of the thing that she played the queen in.
Yeah.
I should rewatch this movie.
Which one, Power of the Dog or this Queen movie?
This Queen movie.
This Queen movie, Miriam keeps telling me that I should watch because I'll love it, and she just doesn't understand how bad of an actress I think Kirsten Dunst is. So.
Get out of here.
Okay, so the answer is Kirsten Dunst. Who had Kirsten Dunst?
Oh shit! Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Wait, Kirsten Dunst.
Everyone gets a point for
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst. There we go. And
I
yes,
did it.
Marie Antoinette.
As Marie Antoinette.
Marie
And you wrote,
Antoinette.
Lisa, did you write down Marie Antoinette? Yes. Sweet.
Times two.
Times two. Double Marie Antoinette. I've
Is
wanted
it
to see that
good?
movie
Is
for a
it good?
while.
Oh,
I
have
haven't
you not
seen
seen it?
It looks good.
I was gonna trust your opinion on it. That's why I was like, I haven't seen it.
I'm interested in Sofia Coppola's work because I just like a director who does different stuff and has a clear vision, whether it makes sense to me or not. So, like, I've seen the one sequence where she's having a makeover or something and like getting prepped for a big event, and then it's just like a classic 90s teen girl makeover montage, but in the lens of France at that era. And then you also see Converse sneakers. So like I said earlier, I love anachronisms in movies. So
but it's done stylistically brilliantly.
So you like it, Lisa? You like it?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
From what I remember.
Like I do want to see it. So we'll both watch it. We'll compare notes. It'll be great. Next. This is, I don't want to say no one's going to get this one, but this one's a stretch. This queen was the third actor to play Lisbeth Salander in the Dragon Tattoo franchise. This queen was the third actor to play Lisbeth Salander in the Dragon Tattoo franchise. So Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, first we had the films that were made in Europe. Then we had the American film that starred Rooney Mara from Social Network. But then they tried to reboot that again in America with like a second American produced.
Oh my God, remake. Is my mom watching? My mom should know this.
Well, you just told me it's not who I thought it was. I was like, I know who played that. No.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's her name? What's her name? What's her name? What's her name?
You need to start watching movies that aren't cartoons.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. I don't, if it's not.
I forgot the actor's name, but I know the movie and Queen. So.
Okay, let's see. 3, 2, 1. Lindsay. Oh my gosh. Well, it was Queen Elizabeth II and it was The Crown, season 1. Claire Foy.
Oh, Claire Foy.
Yes.
Oh.
There you go. Oh, Margaret has entered the chat.
Oh, Mom. It was a Crown question.
It was a Crown question. And I will say, because it hasn't come out, I didn't do any questions for the next act for Imelda Staunton because she is the next queen, but it's not out yet. So I didn't think that was fair. But we love Imelda Staunton. We stand her, as the kids say. So there we go. Yes. Love your nails, Lisa.
Thanks, Matt, Mom.
Okay, next. This queen is playing Barbie in Barbie, the movie.
Oh.
They're making a Barbie movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greta Gerwig.
Real people?
I feel like I'm telling somebody about this movie every week on this show. I'm like, it's amazing.
I'm just so fascinated that it exists.
What did she play?
And what movie?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
I remember. I only got the actor.
I feel like I know it, and I'm like,
it's a movie that I thought was going to be bigger than it actually was. I didn't see it, but I think it was a film that everyone involved thought would be a big Oscar hit, and it got no attention or love. But it has a pretty big like a pretty all-star cast, and it's based on a pretty prominent royal figure.
Is this like a recent movie?
Like within the last 5 to 6 years, I would say. Like it was post Wolf of Wall Street. Oops, I gave things away, but whatever.
Nope.
No.
Nothing.
All right. Answers in 3, 2, 1. Yes, it is Queen. Oh wait, sorry, it's not Queen Elizabeth II. You were so close, Mary. Yes, it is Margot Robbie. Good job,
Queen Elizabeth I.
Yes, Queen Elizabeth I.
Did I write it too? I thought that was a.
Sorry, no, sorry, you're right. It was a 1. There you go, Mary.
Totally not a 1.
Is it the one with Saoirse Ronan?
Yes.
What's
Mary, Queen of Scots?
Okay. I couldn't remember what the actual title of the movie was. I was like, I know Saoirse Ronan was in it with her.
Did I give you a point? I can't remember. Anyway, moving on.
Mark.
Next. This queen plays M in the James Bond franchise?
I know those movies.
Now, see, I thought this was Helen Mirren.
Who plays
It's
M?
the other one.
It's the
What is
I know
her
what you
name?
mean.
Okay.
I know what you
don't know
mean.
what you mean. Vincent, where are you? Help me.
I've still never seen a James Bond film in my life.
Hmm.
It'll happen one day.
M. My God.
I don't really. It's like I know who you're talking about, and I can see it in my head, but I don't really know what movie it was that she was the queen in.
Oh!
No help from the chat.
Oh man, I don't have the chat up. Hang on.
That
How do I
counts.
get
That
that?
counts.
My chat only shows things from 8:08 p.m. This is rigged.
Okay, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Yes, we were looking for Judi Dench. So wait, who's
Yeah,
so
that's her.
one for Jeanette, one for Lisa.
What's the movie? Is it just the Queen? Was it that
No.
easy?
She played Queen Elizabeth I.
Yeah.
So, and she also played Queen Victoria in Victoria and Abdul.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, and I'm sure she's played multiple other queens as well, but that's all I looked up. So, next, this queen played Ophelia opposite Mel Gibson's Hamlet.
Whoa.
What?
This queen played Ophelia opposite Mel Gibson as Hamlet in the Mel Gibson Hamlet.
Not want to see that Hamlet.
And is that the queen that we are, or is that just the clue?
Oh no, that's just the clue. She didn't play the queen in Hamlet, but
Okay.
the actress who played Ophelia in Hamlet with Mel Gibson played a queen later on.
Oh, well, that's not helpful.
As people answer, whoever is going to Stratford Festival in Ontario should definitely see Hamlet.
Really?
Stratford. Yeah.
I've been on the fence about going to Stratford at all this year, but that's
literally just go to see that. It was
Really?
it was like the best Shakespeare I've ever seen because I understood it from like top to bottom.
I like
It was
that.
directed so well. The person who was playing Hamlet, phenomenal. Anyway.
Yeah, I went to school with Ophelia. Well, not with. She was in the class below me at the U of A. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That she was. How was she? Give your full review live on the internet for all time.
She was great.
Yeah.
She's great.
No, she's always really
She's great.
She's
No,
really
everyone's great. Everyone.
Yeah.
It's a Stratford show. Everyone's great.
That's true. No, I want to see Chicago. I also want to see The Miser, which I didn't think I'd want to see, but the production photos look really good. Plus, I love Comfiore.
Yeah, and Little Women is great too.
Oh, I do want to see Little Women. Yeah, the guy who's playing Laurie was also in my acting program, but the year ahead of me.
Oh yeah, Richard Lamb. I know.
Yeah. Oh, do you know Richard?
Yeah.
He has my copy of Assassins.
Richard Lamb, give it back.
Yes. I'm sure Richard Lamb is watching my live stream about the BFG.
The BFG.
I'll let him know. I'll let him know.
Yes, please do. Okay, let's see our answers in 3, 2, 1.
Oh. Wait, hold on.
Upside down happy face.
Hold on. I didn't write anything because I was
Julia Roberts. Did Julia Roberts play a queen?
Probably not. I don't know.
I wish.
Chad
Chad Michaels.
We love Chad Michaels in this house.
Yes, we stand the original All-Star.
Oh, Chad Michaels, so good. Chad Michaels was honestly the drag artist that made me appreciate how good that show could be, like Drag Race. Even though I'm happy that Needles won that season, like still Chad Michaels, so good. But Mary, you got a point for Queen Elizabeth.
Hey.
Yes.
What's the answer?
Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh.
She also played Queen of Hearts.
Oh yeah, she did.
Hey.
Yeah,
that would have
could've
counted.
been
Yeah.
Too bad the clue would have never led you.
Yeah, that clue was bad. That was like not an obvious clue.
Oh, I thought it was.
Wow.
Like that's the Hamlet that high schools usually show people because it's short-ish.
I didn't even know Mel Gibson had ever done Hamlet.
Yeah, he did. It's
neither.
okay.
But I'd like to see him play something with her. That would be interesting. Interesting combo.
Yeah, like it's early
Yeah.
Helena Bonham Carter as well. So it's before she was being cast by merit of her being the person that's either a witch or royalty, because that's kind of her career. But yeah, she's, from what I remember, she's a pretty decent Ophelia. Glenn Close is in it as well. She's Trudy. She's Gertrude. And it's directed by Franco Zeffirelli of Romeo and Juliet fame. Like the good Romeo and Juliet. Yeah. Yes, she did.
She did?
Yes, in Mirror Mirror.
Oh.
That was the Snow White film.
Yeah.
That was the Snow White film that actually hired dwarf actors instead of CGIing average height actors. So I much prefer that movie on principle. And it was an okay Snow White movie. Next, I think this is the last question of our normal round. Yes, here we are. Oh, I don't want to say no one's going to get it, but no one's going to get it. This queen played the main nun in the Madeline movie.
Whoa.
Wait. The live action Madeline
The live
movie?
action Madeline movie.
I love that movie.
Oh my.
This is like the only one I should know.
Yeah.
Forgot that even existed.
I'm also
So did
like
I.
a 6-year-old.
Couldn't
And
you have asked me
truthfully-
about better nuns, like the Sister Act nuns or something?
None of them played queens to my. Well, I'm sure they did. Yeah, this nun. There was a movie and other work that she did that would have made it almost too obvious. So
That means that I don't know her name as an
oh.
actress.
In another film that she's very well known for, she has a quote where she says something like, "Is that your partner in the chipper?"
Oh, is this our other clue?
I that's like, yeah, sure. That's an extra bonus clue for this.
Wait,
this
say it
person.
again. What's the line?
She says something like, "Is that your accomplice in the chipper? Or is that your friend in the chipper?"
Oh. I know
Wow.
this. Now I see. Look, that's a useful clue.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I was worried it was. I was worried it was too easy of a clue.
Oh God, I don't know. This
Oh,
is so
Disney
bad.
Dado knows.
I finally watched a Shakespeare movie, and now I can't remember the name of any of the characters.
Go with the most obvious for this character.
Oh yeah. Look, see, I this isn't fair. I shouldn't get all these points because you're really leading the horse to water now. So.
Yeah, it's like playing an Easter egg hunt with children, where it's like, "Do you want to look up behind the curtain?"
Yeah.
That's not
All right, let's see our answers in 3, 2, 1. Valentina, Queen Elizabeth. Oh my gosh, yes, Frances McDormand in Macbeth.
She was in Madeline?
Yeah, she's the nun.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was like, what?
Her
How
face
would I
was
know
just
that?
like,
Jeanette, you would have gotten another point if you just said Lady Macbeth.
I couldn't take that after you told me. I'm
Okay.
like, oh, I just discovered it was. I'm an idiot. I can't do that.
Okay, the points are as follows. Here we go.
Great.
Mary has 7. Jeanette has 10. Lisa has 13.
I don't know how that happened.
There was a lot of gifting
The last
points
3
on
were
there.
like joke guesses.
Yeah.
I feel like throughout that game, really, 9 times out of 10, you could have just said Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I started doing. I caught on to that.
and a random number. Anyway, how many points would everyone like to wager?
All of them.
Okay.
All of them, yeah.
All of them.
Oh.
Thanks for those
okay.
points, Matt.
You're welcome. So this is a 2-part question. You have an opportunity to either double or triple your points. Here we go. Which drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race hosted the Masquerade cosplay competition this weekend at D23?
I
Tell
don't
me their
know
name.
that.
And also,
I
if you can tell me which season she first appeared in, you will also get points.
Can I have like a hint?
I mean,
Right.
I think part of the reason that she got the job was because she has a long-standing Disney act that she does in her drag performances.
She's
that-
known for Disney drag.
She's known for Disney drag.
Oh.
Like she has this whole audio track edited together with like snippets from different Disney songs, and it's a whole act involving taking off layers of costumes to like reveal new Disney costumes underneath.
Wow.
That's
That
so
sounds awesome.
Oh, she's amazing. And also she was like the best host at D23 this past weekend, which was so refreshing because everyone else was so awkward and didn't know how to speak in front of an audience. And like, she's fantastic.
Oh my god, I truly don't know. So
She's built her not built her career, but she's had a pretty successful run playing Edna Turnblad in Hairspray over the past couple of years as well.
wow, I'm gonna know this drag queen right now.
All right. Let's see. Answers in 3, 2, 1. Tammy, who's that?
Tammy Brown.
Tammy Brown? I don't remember Tammy Brown.
Oh,
Tammy Brown?
Oh my god, she's so funny.
I only
season
remember
1. She's season 1.
I didn't watch season 1.
But she's on like all the drag related stuff, and she's loony.
She's so loony. She's on All Stars 1. Yeah, do it.
Well, Jeanette won Nina West and season 11. How did you know season 11?
I knew it was either 11 or 12 because I knew she wasn't in 13 and I knew she wasn't in 10.
Well, I'm not that hardcore of a Drag Race fan. I've watched every season once, and I only remember the queens whose work after the fact interests me, like Nina West. There you go.
Right.
Disney drag. Yes, but yay, Jeanette, you won.
Yay!
Jeanette, you're the true queen tonight.
I'm in the Miriam of this show. I just win, no matter what.
Brilliant. Love it.
Except for
all right. Congratulations. I think everyone here is a queen at heart, so we all truly won, didn't we? Fantastic. Any closing thoughts on the queen or this movie with the giants or anything?
I'm ready for James and the Giant Peach.
Me too. That's the kind of giant we want.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen James and the Giant Peach?
Oh no, I have never seen.
Oh, I was like, oh yeah, see, I'm already there. I'm like,
I'm saying yeah to BFG. Like,
It's a movie that exists. It made some money for the people who made it. Well, maybe not the producers, but Spielberg got paid. Mark Rylance got paid. Sophie, she got paid. Sadly, she hasn't done that much work since then, which made me sad because I would happily watch her in more things. But I'm glad she made money. So good for her.
Really good.
She was really good. Yeah. Definitely. And I do think there's a good track record, and I've said this before, about kid performances in Roald Dahl films. Like usually the kid casting is like the one thing that's consistently good in most of these movies. I'd say the weakest would maybe be the kid in the original Witches. Actually, even the remake Witches, but they got better when they were mice, as we deduced. Once they could just voice act, then it was fine. But I'm so thrilled to circle back to the good Roald Dahl movies for the next 2 weeks. Hooray! Yeah. Brilliant. All right. Well, then, with that, friends, one at a time, do your sign-offs. Tell the nice people anything you want them to know. We'll start with Mary.
Hi. Well, like I said, Jolly Holiday with Mary. I do weekly vlogs on Wednesday, Week Vlog Wednesday, we like to call it, where you can see me doing random things around my house for a whole week with my adorable dogs. And if you want to hang out on Instagram, I am Mary Darling XO, and Instagram is a lot of fun. So come on over.
Awesome. Thanks, Mary.
Hi, everyone. You can follow me at Lisa_A_Elves on Instagram. I'm a theater producer in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I do have a show I'm producing that's coming up in November called Our Place at Theater Pass Marai. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know all about that. Anyway, thanks for having me, Matt.
Thanks, Lisa.
So you can find me on Instagram as well, TinkerJ787. You can find me here. You can find me on We Like Theme Parks. And over there, we just did our D23 recap. So if you want 2 hours of people losing their mind about absolutely nothing, then you should come listen to it because it gets spicy. And I have a trip coming up for Halloween. My first Halloween Horror Nights will be in October. So I'll be revving up for that. And we'll be talking about it on the show. I'll be showing that on my Instagram. So check that out.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jeanette. And yeah, this is my channel. Subscribe, comment, do all of those fun things. Join us next week because, as we said, we're going to be circling back to one of the best Roald Dahl films as a much-needed palate cleanser after, at the very least, this week. So next week is James and the Giant Peach, a Disney classic. Cannot wait. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Once again, my name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees, and this has been the Tea Cup for One. How do we end this?